You know what time it is. Woo! Get into it! Get into it! Yes! We're back! We're back with Storytime with Chris with our newest book. So, I know I have a couple of good friends of mine who remember watching Disney's Black Cauldron, which unfortunately the version we got was edited and it was supposed to be a much longer movie, but they cut out half an hour out of the original cut to make it shorter and less dark. But this is an epic Welsh mythologically based series of books that I've grown up with. I've read them in my own spare time outside of having a fandom for the Disney adaptation. The original story is pretty awesome. There's going to be a lot of different terminology and Welsh names and languages that you may not be familiar with, so I'll do my best to try to break those down as best I can. Like I always say, you do not have to watch these videos when they go live. You're more than welcome to watch them in your spare time. I understand that I am about... Oh, goodness. I don't even have my glasses on. That's the difference. I'm sorry. Hold on. And I do not own the music in the background. I do not own the music in the background. All right. Okay. All right, my darlings. We'll get started in just a second. But like I said, you do not have to watch these videos when they go live. You're more than welcome to watch them on the YouTube channel when you have some time. Like I always say, reading is not just fundamental. It is essential. It helps you learn about different languages, different cultures, different perspectives, expands your horizons, and helps you elevate your vocabulary as well. It doesn't matter if it's a manga, a comic, a novel, a novella, a magazine, a newspaper clipping. As long as you're reading, you're doing it right. Everybody should read. Everybody should find something about a book that they fall in love with, because the truth of the matter is that there's literally a book for anything that you can think of. Any subject matter, anything that you're passionate about or have fandom for, there is a book. It's literally out there. And if you don't feel like you have the attention span to read, you can just listen to me. Alright, hold on. Let me get my glasses together. Hold on. I'm in violation. Hi, Annie. Thank you for watching. I miss working with you. I hope you're doing alright, sweetie. My prayers out to you, sweetheart. Shout out to one of the coolest pastry chefs and co-workers, Annie. She's awesome. Alright. Okay, we got that together. So, we're about to get into a story that's a coming-of-age story. It's a hero's epic. There's magic. There's war. There's dragons and wyverns and witches and anything that you can think of in what makes a dark fairy tale awesome. So an example of a dark fairy tale, in my opinion, would be a dark age fairy tale. So like Arthurian legends, like Gawain and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, or Lancelot, or the Knights of the Round Table. That era of stories is kind of the vein of what this is. But this is a bit different because it combines heroism and good moral stories with magic and grounding it in a way that makes it relatable, if that makes sense. You'll find out as we read. Let me take a sip of my tea. Yes, I love this mug. It's awesome. Can't really see. It's a Japanese crane, which is the national bird of Japan. Oh, I'm so excited, y'all. This is gonna be great. Lloyd Alexander's The Book of Three, Book 1. I will read this note from the author. For the children who listened, the grown-ups who were patient, and especially for Anne Durrell. I Like I said, this is a magical fairy tale story, based off of Welsh mythology, so bear with me. Um, for any of my friends from Wales, if I get a pronunciation wrong, please kindly just message me or, correct me in the comments. Okay? I don't think I'm going to do an accent for this one. I did that for Redwall, and I think I'm going to just keep it with Redwall, but we'll see. Chapter 1. The Assistant Pigkeeper. Taran wanted to make a sword, but Cole, charged with the practical side of his education, decided on horseshoes, and so it had been horseshoes all morning long. Taran's arms ached, soot blackened his face, and at last he dropped the hammer and turned to Cole, who was watching him critically. "Why?" Taran cried. "Why must it be horseshoes? As if we had any horses!" Cole was stout and round, and his gray bald head glowed bright pink. "Lucky for the horses," was all he said, glancing at Taran's handiwork. "I could do better at making a sword," Taran protested. "I know I could." And before Cole could answer, he snatched the tongs, flung a strip of red-hot iron to the anvil, and began hammering away as fast as he could. Wait, cried Cole. "That's not the way to go after it." Heedless of Cole, unable even to hear him above the din, Taran pounded harder than ever. Sparks sprayed the air, but the more he pounded, the more the metal twisted and buckled, until finally the iron sprang from the tongs and fell to the ground. Taran stared in dismay. With the tongs, he picked up the bent iron and examined it. Not quite the blade for a hero. "It's ruined," Taran glumly agreed. "It looks like a sick snake," he added ruefully. "As I tried to tell you," said Cole, "you had it all wrong. You must hold the tongs. So, when you strike, the strength must flow from your shoulder and your wrists be loosed. You can hear it when you do it right. There's a kind of music in it. Besides," he added, "this is not the metal for weapons." There we go. Gotta get our bookmark. Cole returned the crooked, half-formed blade to the furnace, where it lost its shape entirely. "I wish I might have had my own sword," Taran sighed, "and you would teach me sword fighting." "Whist!" cried Cole. "Why would you want to know that? We have no battles at Caradolban." "We have no horses either," objected Taran, "but we're making horseshoes." "Get on with you," said Cole, unmoved. "That is for practice." "And so would this be," Taran urged. "Come, teach me the sword fighting. You must know the art." Cole's shining head glowed even brighter. A trace of a smile appeared on his face, as though he was savoring something pleasant. "True," he said quietly. "I've held a sword once or twice in my day." "Teach me now," pleaded Taran. He seized a poker and brandished it, slashing in the air and dancing back and forth over the hard-packed earthen floor. "See," he called, "I know most of it already." "Hold your hand," chuckled Cole. "If you were to come against me like that, and with all your posing and bouncing, I should have had you chopped into bits by this time." He hesitated a moment. "Look you," he said quickly, "at least you should know there is a right way and a wrong way to go about it." He picked up another poker. "Here now," he ordered with a sooty wink. "Stand like a man." Taran brought up his poker. While Cole shouted instructions, they set to parrying and thrusting with much banging, clanking, and commotion. For a moment, Taran was sure he had the better of Cole, but the old man spun around with amazing lightness of foot. Now it was Taran who strove desperately to ward off Cole's blows. Abruptly, Cole stopped. So did Taran. His poker posed in midair. In the doorway of the forge stood the tall, bent figure of Dolben. Dolben, master of Caradolban, was 379 years old. His beard covered so much of his face he seemed always to be peering over a gray cloud. On the little farm, while Taran and Cole saw to the plowing, sowing, weeding, reaping, and all the other tasks of husbandry, Dolben undertook the meditating, an occupation so exhausting he could accomplish it only by lying down and closing his eyes. He meditated an hour and a half following breakfast, and again later in the day. The clatter from the forge had roused him from his morning meditation. His robe hung askew over his bony knees.
"Stop that nonsense directly," said Dolben. "I'm surprised at you," he added, frowning at Cole. "There is serious work to be done."
"It wasn't Cole," Taran interrupted. "It was I who asked to learn swordplay."
"I did not say I was surprised at you," remarked Dolben. "But perhaps I am, after all. I think you had best come with me."
Taran followed the ancient man out of the forge, across the chicken run, and into the white thatched cottage. There in Dolben's chamber, moldering tomes overflowed the sagging shelves and spilled onto the floor heaps of iron cookpots, studded belts, harps with or without strings, and other oddments. Taran took his place on the wooden bench, as he always did when Dolben was in a mood for giving lessons or reprimands.
"I fully understand," said Dolben, settling himself behind his table. "In the use of weapons, as in everything else, there is a certain skill, but wiser heads than yours will determine when you should learn it."
"I'm sorry," Taran began. "I should not have—"
"I am not angry," Dolben said, raising his head. "Only a little sad. Time flies quickly. Things always happen sooner than one expects. And yet," he murmured almost to himself, "it troubles me. I fear the Horned King may have some part in this."
"The Horned King?" asked Taran.
"We shall speak of him later," said Dolben.
He drew a ponderous leather-bound volume toward him. The Book of Three, from which he occasionally read to Taran, and which the boy believed held in its pages everything anyone could possibly want to know.
"As I have explained to you before," Dolben went on, "and you have very likely forgotten, Prydain is a land of many countries, of small kingdoms, and many kings. And, of course, there are war leaders who command the warriors."
"But there is the High King above them all," said Taran. "Math, son of Mathanwe. Mathanwe. Or Mathanwe. I'm pretty sure it's Mathanwe. His war leader is the mightiest hero in Prydain. You told me of him. Prince Gwydion."
"Yes," Taran went on eagerly.
"I know."
"There are other things you do not know," Dolben said, "for the obvious reason that I have not told you. For the moment I am less concerned with the realms of the living than with the land of the dead, with Anuvin."
Taran shuddered at the word. Even Dolben had spoken in a whisper.
"And with King Arorn, Lord of Anuvin," Dolben said. "Know this," he continued quickly. "Anuvin is more than a land of death. It is a treasure house, not only of gold and jewels, but of all things of advantage to men. Long ago the race of men owned these treasures, but craft and deceit, Arorn stole them one by one for his own evil purposes. Some few of the treasures have been wrested from him, though most lie hidden deep in Anuvin, where Arorn guards them jealously."
"But Arorn did not become ruler of Prydain," Taran said.
"You may be thankful he did not," said Dolben. "He would have ruled had it not been for the children of Dawn, the sons of the Lady Dawn and her consort, Belen, king of the sun. Long ago they voyaged to Prydain from the summer country, and found the land rich and fair, though the race of men had little for themselves. The sons of Dawn built their stronghold at Caer Dathel, far north in the Eagle Mountains. From there they helped regain at least a portion of what Arorn had stolen, and stood as guardians against the lurking threat of Anuvin."
"I hate to think what would have happened if the Sons of Dawn hadn't come," Taran said. "It was a good destiny that brought them."
"I am not always sure," said Dolben with a wry smile. The men of Prydain came to rely on strength of the House of Dawn as a child clings to its mother. They do so even today. Math, the High King, is descended from the House of Dawn, so it is Prince Gwydion. But that is all, by the way. Prydain has been at peace, as much as men can be peaceful. Until now. What you do not know, Dalbin said, is this. It has reached my ears that a new and mighty warlord has risen, as powerful as Gwydion. Some say more powerful, but he is a man of evil, for whom death is a black joy. He sports with death as you might sport with a dog.
Who is he? Cried Taran. Dalbin shook his head.
No man knows his name, nor has any man seen his face. He wears an antlered mask, and for this reason he is called the Horned King. His purpose, I do not know. I suspect the hand of Aron, but in what manner I cannot tell. I tell you now for your own protection, Dalbin added, for what I saw this morning. Your head is full of nonsense about feat of arms. Whatever notions you may have, I advise you to forget them immediately. There is unknown danger abroad. You are barely on the threshold of manhood, and I have a certain responsibility to see that you reach it. Preferably with a whole skin. So you are not to leave Caer Dallben under any circumstances, not even past the orchard, and certainly not into the forest. Not for the time being.
For the time being, Taran burst out. I think it will always be for the time being. It'll be vegetables and horseshoes all my life, said Dalbin.
There are worse things. Do you set yourself to be a glorious hero? Do you believe it is all flashing swords and galloping on horses? As for being glorious...
But what of Prince Gwydion? Cried Taran. Yes, I wish I might be like him.
I fear, Dalbin said, that is not entirely out of the question.
But why? Taran sprang to his feet. I know if I had the chance.
Why? Dalbin interrupted. In some cases, he said, we learn more by looking for the answer to a question and not finding it than we do from learning the answer itself. This is one of those cases. I could tell you why, but at the moment it would only be more confusing. If you grow up with any kind of sense, which you sometimes make me doubt, you will very likely reach your own conclusions. They will probably be wrong, he added. However, since they will be yours, you will feel a little more satisfied with them.
Taran sank back and sat, gloomy and silent on the bench. Dalbin had already begun meditating again. His chin gradually came to rest on his collarbone. His beard floated around his ears like a fog bank, and he began snoring peacefully. The spring scent of apple blossom drifted up through the open window. Beyond Dalbin's chamber, Taran glimpsed the pale green fringe of forest. The fields, ready to cultivate, would soon turn golden with summer. The Book of Three lay closed on the table. Taran had never been allowed to read the volume for himself. Now he was sure it held more than Dalbin chose to tell him. In the sun-filled room, with Dalbin still meditating and showing no sign of stopping, Taran rose and moved through the shimmering beams. From the forest came the monotonous tick of a beetle. His hands reached for the cover. Taran gasped in pain and snatched them away. They smarted as if each of his fingers had been stung by hornets. He jumped back, stumbled against the bench, and dropped to the floor, where he put his fingers woefully in his mouth. Dalbin's eyes blinked open. He peered at Taran and yawned slowly.
You had better see Cole about a lotion for those hands. once, he advised. Otherwise, I shouldn't be surprised if they blister. Fingers smarting, the shamefaced Tarn hurried for the cottage and found Cole near the vegetable garden. You've been at the Book of Three, Cole said. That is not hard to guess. Now you know better. Well, that is one of the 3 foundations of learning. See much, study much, suffer much. He led Tarn to the stable where medicines for the livestock were kept and poured a concoction over Tarn's fingers. What is the use of studying much when I'm to see nothing at all? Tarn retorted. I think there is a destiny laid on me that I'm not to know anything interesting, or do anything interesting. Certainly not to be anything. Not anything even at Caerdalben. Very well, said Cole. If that is all that troubles you, I shall make you something. From this moment, you are Tarn, assistant pig keeper. You shall help me take care of Henwin. See her trough is full, carry her water, give her a good scrubbing every other day. That's what I do now, Tarn said bitterly. All the better, said Cole, for it makes things that much easier. If you want to be something with a name attached to it, I can't think of anything closer to hand. And it is not every lad who can be assistant keeper to an oracular pig. Indeed, she's the only oracular pig in Prydain, and the most valuable. Valuable to Dalbin, Tarn said. She never tells me anything. Did you think she would? Replied Cole. With Henwin you must know how to ask. Here. What's that? Cole shaded his eyes, and with his hand a black buzzing cloud streaked from the orchard and bore on so rapidly and passed so close to Cole's head that he had to leap out of the way. The bees! Tarn shouted. They're swarming! It is not their time, cried Cole. This is something amiss. The cloud rose high toward the sun. An instant later, Tarn heard a loud clucking and squawking from the chicken run. He turned to see the 5 hens and the rooster beating their wings. Before it occurred to him they were attempting to fly. They, too, were aloft. Tarn and Cole raced to the chicken run, too late to catch the foals. With the rooster leading, the chickens flapped awkwardly through the air and disappeared over the brow of a hill. From the stable, the pair of oxen bellowed and rolled their eyes in terror. Dalbin's head poked out of the window. He looked irritated. It has become absolutely impossible for any kind of meditation whatsoever, he said with a severe glance at Tarn. I have warned you once. Something frightened the animals, Tarn protested. First the bees, then the chickens flew off. Dalbin's face turned grave. I've been given no knowledge of this, he said to Cole. We must ask Henwin about it immediately, and we shall need the letter sticks. Quickly, help me find them. Cole moved hastily to the cottage door. Watch Henwin closely, he ordered Tarn. Do not let her out of your sight. Cole disappeared inside the cottage to search for Henwin's letter sticks, the long rods of ash wood carved with spells. Tarn was both frightened and excited. Dalbin, who knew, would consult Henwin only on a matter of greatest urgency. Within Tarn's memory it had never happened before. He hurried to the pen. Henwin usually slept until noon, then trotting daintily despite her size, she would move to a shady corner of her enclosure and settle comfortably for the rest of the day. The white pig was continually grunting and chuckling to herself, and whenever she saw Tarn she would raise a wide, cheeky face so that he could scratch her under her chin. But this time she paid no attention to him. Wheezing and whistling, Henwin was digging furiously in the soft earth at the far side of the pen, burrowing so rapidly she would soon be out. Tarn shouted at her, but the clods continued flying at a great rate. He swung himself over the fence. The oracular pig stopped and glanced around. As Tarn approached the hole, already sizable, Henwin hurried to the opposite side of the pen and started a new excavation. Tarn was strong and long-legged, but to his dismay he saw that Henwin moved faster than he. As he chased her from the second hole, he turned quickly on her short legs and made for the first, but by now were big enough for her head and shoulders. Tarn frantically began scraping earth back into the burrow. Henwin dug faster than a badger, her hind legs planted firmly, her front legs plowing ahead. Tarn despaired of stopping her. He scrambled back over the rails and jumped to the spot where Henwin was about to emerge, planning to seize her and hang on until Dalbin and Cole arrived. He underestimated Hedwig's speed and strength. In an explosion of dirt and pebbles, the pig burst from under the fence, heaving Taran into the air. He landed with the wind knocked out of him. Hedwig raced across the field and into the woods. Taran followed. Ahead, the forest rose up dark and threatening. He took a breath and plunged after her. It's to me one of the best fantasy stories I've ever read. It's a great time. And this book is technically not that long. Hold on. Yeah, it's only 20 chapters, so we could finish this in a month. We could do that. I have faith in our capabilities. But like, share, subscribe on the YouTube channel, y'all. I love y'all very much. Share it with your friends. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.